Joyride 1957, Chapter 14. Highway 1 traverses the eastern seaboard from Maine in the north to Key West, Florida in the south. It passes through the city of Augusta, Georgia's second largest city, some 100 miles east of the hub of the South, Atlanta, Georgia. This day, the city of Augusta, with a population of some 50,000 Georgians, was a bit more busy. The president was in town and security was upgraded. He spoke at the city hall around noon, then spent the afternoon playing golf at his favorite course, of which he was a member. The Augusta National Golf Club was just north of town, and a few miles west of the golf club, the local Howard Johnson Motel and Restaurant was also a hotbed of activity on this day. The tall man in a black suit drove his green Dodge Regent into the Howard Johnson lot and checked into room 26. Then headed for the attached restaurant famous for its many ice cream flavors. Veronica, the traveler from England, checked into room 29, parking her pale yellow brand new Land Rover near her room. Arriving in a 1956 Monarch, blue over white with a Canadian license plate, was a tall, thin man in a pale blue suit. He checked into room 30. Arriving almost at the same time as the man in the pale blue suit was a well-built blond man in a silver Mercedes 300 SL gull-wing hardtop coupe with New York license plates. He checked into room 33, removed his olive green colored suit, and immediately sat down to make a call. All four of the perpetrators ended up in the restaurant at about 6:30 p.m. The tall man in the black suit, who drove a green Dodge Regent, ordered a hamburger steak with mashed potatoes and gravy, followed that up with black cherry ice cream. Veronica had fish and chips and topped it off with a lemon sorbet. The man in the Monarch had a French dip sandwich with fries and French vanilla ice cream. The Mercedes driver had breaded veal cutlets with mashed potatoes and gravy. He then had a dessert of butter pecan ice cream. On returning to their respective rooms, all four got right on the phone. The man in the black suit called his Russian embassy in New York. He reached the director after an extended wait. He told the director he last saw James in Richmond and assumed he was continuing south. Arriving in Augusta, he did not find any sign of James, but told the director that the president was in town. The director told him that they had 4 operatives following the president's moves, but there was no further plan in that regard. The director suggested he continue south into Florida, as that was James' likely next move. The subordinate related that he thought there may be some other operatives from other agencies staying at his very motel. The director suggested he head to Florida, but if he could identify any other agency operative, he may, if warranted, follow their lead. Veronica made her call to Nigel in the British Embassy in New York City. After several minutes of phone ecstasy, the two got down to business. He told her he didn't know where James was. He had no clue. She didn't know either, but was leaning toward Florida. She had just been there on the ship and thought it a fertile place for James to hunt for treasure or whatever he was searching for. After all, St. Augustine was the oldest city in the United States, established in 1565. As the conversation and love call ended, Nigel told her that James' license plate was issued in Texas. She did hear, but gushed more love, and finally hung up. What she didn't know was that her conversation was being recorded by the tall man in the black suit. The man in the olive green suit called East Berlin directly. He told his superior that he had lost his mark but would soon find him again. He told his superior not to worry. After a rather heated and extended conversation, he hung up, pulled out his road map, and traced a path on Highway 78 to Atlanta, then north on Highway 41 toward Chattanooga. The tall, thin man in room 30 called room 29 and in a French accent asked if the woman in room 29 would like to take an evening stroll with him. She said she would love to, and after a half-hour walk, the two returned to their respective rooms. Veronica unlocked the door of the adjoining room, number 30, and invited the French Canadian in for a nightcap. They began another long French kiss, which didn't end until first light of the next day.